Let's do some refactoring. For example, I would like to group all the components that belong to the course resource in the same folder. And let's start with moving the component responsible for showing the search input into the course folder that we are about to create now. So from now on, we're going to reference search component by using dot, since this search component is going to be stored under course folder. Alright, so let's create folder called course inside components folder. And in here, I'm going to move course search component. And since we are already in the course context, we don't have to mention course word anymore in the file name. So I'm going to rename this file and basically call it search. We also have the component that represents individual course block called course. So I'm going to rename this component on card and move it inside course folder. So let's do it right now. I'm going to open up course component. This is the component that represents course block, and now we're going to move it inside course folder and rename this component to be called card. Alright, everything is looking good so far. Now let's open up course details page and do the same thing with these components that show up on this page. First of all, let's cut this component with meta information of the course. And by the way, for now, we don't even have a separate component to represent the block with meta information. So let's create one right now. I'm going to cut this markup of that block and create new component with the name info. Let's create this component directly within the course folder and paste just cut markup into this component. And just because we are referencing this course variable inside this component, we'll have to pass this variable from outside by using prop. So let's pass the prop called course like this. And we can even move this outer div and also move it within the info component. And the same thing I'm going to do with another sibling, which is located right under the info component. So let's cut this whole markup that represents the list of lessons and create new component with the name lessons also inside course folder. In here I'm going to paste this whole markup. And let's just take a look in the browser to see if we haven't broken anything on the course details page. Everything still shows up properly. Let's move on. As for the courses component, this one is used only once on the main page where we show the list of latest courses. And since this component is only used once, I prefer to use this markup directly instead of reusing this component. So let's just copy this whole markup and paste it directly on the index page. And then we no longer have to use this variable heading to represent the text of the title of this section. We can just directly use latest courses heading. And then the usage of courses component is no longer needed. Let's remove this line. And just because this courses component is no longer used, we can go ahead and remove the file with this component, courses.blade.php. As always, let's make sure that by doing all this refactoring, we didn't break anything on the main page. We're still seeing that the latest courses section is shown properly. Alright, as a result, we have moved all the components that are somehow related to the course resource in a separate folder called course. So it is easier to see at a glance what components are related to the course resource. Let's keep going in the next lesson, and the link to the repository of this project will be as always in the video description.